Hey guys, Steven the Salon Guy here, and welcome to the Salon Guy on Demand. Today is going to be an amazing video. So we're focusing on a hairstylist and a photographer coming together, and this video is going to be great for you if you are new to photo shoots. You want to know what it's like to be prepared for a photo shoot and what it's like to work with an actual photographer on a photo shoot with a real model. So this video is going to be great. I'm ready to go. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Carl. I'm an editorial and runway fashion photographer based out of New York City, but I also shoot hair and beauty. I've been doing the fashion, hair and beauty scene for about 10 years in New York, Miami, Las Vegas, and elsewhere. And there's many things that we do putting a photo shoot together. A lot of times photographers will think about they'll think about the makeup, they'll think about the dress, they'll think about how pretty the model is, in which case, with a model like that, how can you go wrong? But one thing a lot of photographers don't really spend a lot of time thinking about, a lot of art directors don't really think about, is the hair. The hair isn't just there. It's a very important element as part of the photograph. And what we're going to do today is we're going to show you a little bit of the interaction that I would do between myself and the hairdresser, or myself and the art director and the hairdresser, to get that final look, to give it that final polish, so at the end of the day, you wind up with an image that's not just good, you wind up with an image that's absolutely wow, what a great day, job done.
And I'm Rose Brenda, and I'm here to share with you some great hairstyling techniques and ideas. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I've done several photo shoots. I'm excited to work with Carl. I'm going to bring to you what really goes on with a model, preparing her for the photo shoot. I almost wish I had this when I started out in my industry, and I hope you get a lot out of this.
Today we have a lovely model, Ava, with us today. And basically the way I would go about a photo shoot, especially if there's no art director on board, I'm going to spend some time talking with what I call the ground crew, the hairstylist, the makeup artist, to give them an idea of what it is we're looking for. And the best way to do it is to plan ahead of time. The keystone to being successful is to be prepared. If you just walk in and say, well, gee, I want her to look cute, I want her to look hot, I want her to look glamorous, that's great, but it doesn't really help the hairdresser, it doesn't help the makeup, it doesn't help anybody who's on board right now, because they don't really know what I'm looking at. A very important element of any shoot is the mood board. And a mood board can be very elaborate. You can have, foam core with pictures, or it can just be very simple. Like, you can just maybe bring a couple simple magazines and say, all right, Ava's a very, very attractive young girl. She, to me, has a kind of that California kind of look, very healthy, very energetic. So maybe today what we might want to do is we might want to do a couple looks. We might say we look this cover of Vogue magazine, and the hair color and the style is just about the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Rose and say, listen, for the first look, we want something really slick, really editorial, maybe wet the hair down. Notice that the highlights and the color of her hair are very similar to the model on the cover of the magazine. So let's do something very, very similar to that. Then we might turn around and say, we might look at this one and say, okay, this is a little bit more glamorous, this one's a little bit more prepared, a little bit more polished. Now, one of the things that's going to be very, very key here is, now I as a photographer, because I like seeing the girl in a swimsuit, I might say, wow, let's do that first, let's really knock this one out, let's get this one out of the way. But the hairdresser might say, yeah, but you know what, once we wet her hair down, it's going to be really hard to make it look like this. I would rather start with this first, maybe. We go with this look first, then we can go wild and crazy and wet the hair down. That's really important, because the photographer at first may not realize that, but when you communicate with a hairdresser, that hairdresser is going to communicate back to you, and we're going to have a better flow, and at the end of the day, a much better end result. The communication prior to the shoot is so crucial, and having the right idea prior to the shoot is so crucial. Winging it while you're doing it, yeah, it may work, but it's never going to really give you the result that you really, really, really want. And what you want at the end of the day is that money shot. The shot's going to drop everybody's jaw and make them say, wow.
And I agree with Carl. It's all about performing the shoot properly. As you can see, Ava's got beautiful soft highlights. I like your idea about putting that into that sleeker look. But you're right, we don't want to wet it till after. I also want to be able to work with our hair so that it showcases nice on the photos for us. And also, I like your idea. I think we can add a little bit more fun and energy to it. Absolutely. So that we can get our model with a very clean, soft, that summer look that we're doing these days. And I definitely want to accent our highlights, because I think in photos that is going to be even better.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Our total look. So that's going to be fun to get started. And we'll do a few looks. We'll go into a transition of a few looks and create that nice beachy summer look, but very soft and feminine at the same time.
Okay, so now we've had our initial conversation. We showed up at the studio, and we kind of reinforced some of the things we spoke about on the phone, spoke about through email. But now we're into the initial prep. The hairstylist, she knows what we need to do, so she's getting right to work. But what I'm doing is, while trying to stay out of the way, because you don't want to stay in her, you don't want to get in her way. She's going to be moving back and forth a little bit, and timing is everything. You want to get these looks ready because we're on a client's dollar. So we don't want to spend 4 hours doing hair. The client's not going to be real happy about that. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at, as she's got the hair in the rollers. Ava has some really nice highlights, and that's one of the things I really liked about her when I first saw her. So I'm just going to be looking around a little bit and saying, all right, look in here. I can see the nice highlights still showing up because I know how light's going to pick that up. But if maybe the way she rolled her hair, let's say she tucked that highlight underneath a little bit where I can't see it, and I said, I remember she had that nice highlight on the right side as well as on the left. I don't see it. I can point that out to the hairdresser, and that's very important. Again, that's that whole communication thing. The more you talk about ahead of time, the better, but you still need to be able to communicate and interact, but also at the same time, you need to do it in such a way where you're not getting in the way, where you're not slowing things down, and you're also not being too authoritative either, because remember, the hairdresser is an important part of the team, as is anyone else. I may be the photographer creating the image, but I'm not the guy. We're collaborative. We work together, and that is very important, because if you don't have that focus, if you don't have that mentality, that mindset, it's just not going to work. It's just not.
Right.
You'll see it at the end of the day. Something won't be right. You won't have that money shot, and that might be a big part of the reason why.
So as Carl said, timing is everything, and once we decided how we're going to transition into our different looks, the hairstylist has to prepare the model, and time is everything. So you want to really start with a good foundation, and you have to be prepared. You have to have your tools at a set and be able to go, because everything is all about the timing. So I just took out her rollers and I'm just working her hair to see how it can move, because the photographers at times, they may want you to change it, and I'm just trying to see how it flows, how it reacts to what I've done to her hair, so that I can transition her hair into a few different looks. And so in a hairstylist's mind, you start wondering, okay, how do I do the set? Where do I go from A to B? And I've outlined a couple of things in my mind. I look at her hairline, of course, and I see that her hair is very easy to work with. I put in a little bit of product so that I can mold it any way that I want. We're going to do something really soft in the beginning, and I want it to be very just a very soft, clean, summery look that any girl could wear. And then we're going to take it into something a little bit more high fashion. So I see that her hair is reacting right. These are things that you have to constantly think of as you're on a shoot. It's not like you do one set and you stop. You always have to think, where are we going from there? Especially when you want to create a couple of different looks in the time that you have. So her hair is very soft, and I can mold it into anything I want, and it's going to be fun to show you what we can do. Carl?
Well, my role right at this point, the hairdresser, she's on a roll right now. She's really doing what we envision, what we really want to do. One of the things that I might do right at this point, trying to stay out of her way as much as possible, but this is an ideal time for maybe just do some little behind the scenes shots. So while she's working, people like to see the behind the scenes, but also there could be a little bit of a method to my madness here, not just creating cool behind the scenes shots. I can look at them and say, all right, while this is not the exact lighting I'm going to be shooting under, I'll zoom in now and I'll look at the hair and I'll say, all right, the highlights that I really love about this girl are really photographing really well. If I found that they weren't, then I might go back to the hairdresser and say, what can we do? She had these really nice highlights, but they're not really coming out. That we can interact and say, all right, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. I might even show her what she's doing, so that way she can take a look and she can get a little bit of her own little sort of feedback as to what she's doing. Again, not being distracting, because again, we're on a client's nickel. This could be my shoot, but there's probably an art director somewhere, and probably an art director's doing a little bit of this, checking his watch, because he knows, hey, time is money, and he's watching every second tick off. So we look at these, we're satisfied, but now it's time for me to get out of the way and turn things back over to the talented hairdresser.
So another thing I could share with you is when a photographer is starting to take behind the scenes shoot, you don't want to get in their way as much as they don't want to get in your way. So I always kind of back away, and I look at my work to make sure that it's photographing right. But it's always about that interaction, communication with the photographer so that it goes smoother. And yes, you can always stand back, look at your work, and then go back. And if you want the photographer to stop for a second, you want to change something, move a hair, then I always tell them, hey, can you stop for a second, let me fix something. So we've created a fun ponytail, and I'm just getting her ready right before Carl starts to shoot. And my job was to create a fun look, giving it a little bit of sophistication at the same time. And then I'm gonna let Carl start shooting, and then we'll see how it looks on camera.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to step you over a little bit this way. Let's just do a couple test shots real first, just to see what we got going on here, see if we like our look. And that's perfect, just like that. You'll turn a little bit, bring it back to me a little more, just bring in those eyes, chin up a little bit more. Perfect, just like that. Now what I'm going to do, we've done a couple of shots, and so we're not going wild and crazy and just shooting away. Now I'm going to look at these images, and I'm going to start looking, we're going to start looking, and now I'm going to say, you know what? Yeah, we got a lock of hair that's slightly out of place here. At first I didn't see it, but when she turned, can we correct it? Can we put that just up and out of the way a little bit?
Definitely.
And this is a very, very important part of the whole process, because you've got, as a photographer, you have to be vocal. You're the last line of defense. There's things you're going to see in the viewfinder that no one else is going to see because they don't have the perspective that you have. You have to be looking for that, and you have to be ready to call it out and make a correction. You're not chastising the hairdresser or the makeup artist. You're actually helping them. You're helping them take their game to a higher level. Again, that's the whole collaboration thing. We're all working for a final result, and part of that final result is making everybody look good and making everyone able to do their job better.
Right, the last thing you want to do as a hairstylist get upset if they see something. They're actually helping your work on photos. So you kind of work together. It's a union that you make, and you want to finish the job properly.
And sometimes it can go in the opposite direction. This shoot could be about the hairdresser, could be about the hairstyle. So I might think I nailed everything, but the hairdresser might look at it and say, you know what? I did a really nice updo here, but I don't think you shot it from an angle that doesn't really show the work that I did toward the back of the left side of her head. Can we turn her a little bit? Again, I can't get defensive. I'm thankful that she pointed that out, because that's going to help me do my job better, and ultimately that image is more likely to be a money image, it's more likely to be published, and it's more likely to make a bigger name for me. So we're all working together. We're all part of a team. Nobody's bigger than anybody else. We're all in this together. Money shot at the end of the day.
As a hairstylist, you always want to take different angles of the shot, because it could be just that one picture that's going to make the difference.
Absolutely.
So you can take 10 different ones, but I always like to move my model around, definitely. And with the photographer, of course, we work together on that.
Absolutely. There you go. Bring the chin up just a little higher. There you go. A little more standoffish. There we go. Now we're going to shoot a couple like this. We're rolling through. Everything's looking good. And what I want to do, I'm going to bring Rose in for a little bit.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Let's take a look. See what we have here.
Okay.
Oops, I'm sorry. I turned the camera off.
Okay.
So what do we think?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right, so now what I'm going to do, because I like to be difficult, I know we only have limited time, but I would like to do a completely different look. What can we do in a short amount of time that completely changes her up? Give them something even more to choose from, something even more to say wow with.
Well, we can give her a softer look, and this is what happens on a photo shoot. A lot of times, the photographer will tell you last minute, we've got 20 minutes, change your look, 10 minutes, so you've always got to be ready to do something and change it up right away, so we'll get started on it.
Absolutely. Okay. And this is also for the photographers, this is also very important, because I'm working with an art director, and the art director is communicating a lot of different things, and sometimes he or she's only communicating that to me. So I got to be able to communicate all of that to the hairdresser, and that's where that last minute request comes from, because maybe the art director tapped me on the shoulder and said, Carl, I love this, but I don't want just that one look. So that's where we're going.
All right, this is real pressure, and it's not because I'm going through my changes. This is what happens sometimes, but you just got to work with it. You always have to think ahead, like I said earlier. You can easily change a look. I always go to a photo shoot prepared with some ideas in my mind how I could change one style into another. So I'm just going to give her a really soft look so that she can be very friendly, consumer friendly for a lot of different people. And she'll be able to use the shoot in a lot of different ways. But this is what it's all about. Being able to deliver, perform, work well, and create. And most of all, have fun with it. You know, sometimes I always think a shoot is always a fun event. I love it. I love the people that I meet. And it's all about what you make of it. So as you can see, I quickly changed her hairstyle into something softer. The photographer wanted something he could use on more of a commercial look for her. And it's all about taking the few minutes that you have and creating and working fast. So you always, again, have to pre-think what you're going, communicating with the photographer so that he gets the look. You just keep on working and going until we're both come up with the right look for her. But I always like the last minutes of a photo shoot, just have a little bit more fun and get more creative. And usually you're very relaxed towards the end, and it's kind of lots of fun. What do you think, Carl? Do you like it?
I love the look, and again, it really segues back to this whole thing we've been talking about with communication. Because we communicated, because we planned and prepared, we actually wound up with an extra 20 minutes at the end of the shoot, so we were able to take the time and do something different. Now, we may love the shots, maybe the art director will like them, maybe he won't, but maybe he'll look at them and say, wow, that's something we didn't anticipate. We really, really love that. Again, that's that extra little money shot, brings more value to the shoot, and I just think it's just so much better overall. This was a very successful shoot, this was a very successful day, and the reason why is because we planned, we prepared. Remember, preparation is the keystone to success. There's no two ways about it. Work as a team, communicate, you win in the end.
I agree with everything you said, Carl. It's been great working with you.
Oh, it's been great working with you, and also with our lovely model too.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.